Well, staying on this top story, those ICE operations we just mentioned, they took place in multiple cities yesterday, and that includes Miami, Colorado, Los Angeles, with 956 people taken into custody. This was the largest number of arrests by the Trump administration in a single day. That brings the total number of arrests since the inauguration last week to more than 2,600. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster joins us now live from Chicago, where some of those raids have been taking place. Shaq, Chicago was really in the bullseye when we first learned about the potential of these raids. Ground us in the numbers here, because President Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, told NBC News that several people convicted of serious offenses were apprehended over the weekend. Let's talk, but first, let's take a listen to more of what he told Gabe Gutierrez.
Any collateral arrests today?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be. I think there's been at least a few. And again, that's just in a sanctuary city. If we can't get the bad guy in jail, we're going to go to the community and find him, which we're doing today. And when we find him, if they're with others that are here illegally, they're going to. I don't have a quota. My instruction to them, arrest as many as you can that are public safety threats. And if they're with somebody else illegally here, they're coming too.
So, Shaq, we've heard the promises, we've heard the threats, and now we're getting the numbers in. What does it actually look like from your vantage point on the ground in Chicago?
Well, one thing that you're hearing, Morgan, the Trump administration emphasizes is that this is not just ICE, but a whole of government approach to these operations that you're seeing. So you, for example, look at Colorado and the arrest of some 50 people there. That was actually started by a DEA, a Drug Enforcement Agency warrant. So what you're seeing is the scale of these roundups that are taking place. Here in Chicago, a source familiar is saying that there are 10 teams fanned across the city and the surrounding suburbs, each with 10 agents with each team that are going around and working through a list of criminals, in their words, that they are now trying to apprehend. And what this is also leading to is some concern in the city. You know, one thing that they're highlighting is that they are not avoiding what they call collateral arrests. So although they are looking for specific people, if they encounter people not on that list who are here in an unauthorized way, they will also bring them in and they can be subject to deportation. So you're seeing that take place not just here in Chicago, but across the country, Morgan.
You know, Shaq, the question of dignity has come up a lot in watching these raids. And I know you've been doing reporting. I've been doing reporting even a few weeks back on the border, where a lot of these immigration advocacy groups have increased their efforts ultimately to just educate migrants about the law, because you're not guaranteed, for example, a lawyer like you would be in criminal court in this case. So they're trying to educate them. But what are you seeing in Chicago? What are these workshops ultimately doing? Do they have any power to protect people?
Yeah, and you know, the workshops are being advocated not just by the groups, but even city leaders. The mayor yesterday saying that it's important that immigrant communities know their rights when interacting with ICE. And you mentioned I attended a workshop yesterday that was held in a church on Chicago's South Side. I think you have some of the video playing right there from this workshop, where they taught immigrants that you have the right to remain silent. They went through saying that in English. They showed the differences between warrants. One, if it's signed by a judge, that requires then you to open the door for ICE. So it's a priority that you're hearing from many of these communities and many of these groups, that they want to make sure people know the rights that they have when interacting with federal agents.
Important reporting there. Shaquille Brewster live on the ground in Chicago, where those raids are happening. Shaq, we appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.